Claude Co-Work, Codex, what's the difference? Which one should I be using? When do I use one? When do I use the other? Please help me. I hear this all the time, guys. I know there are a lot of tools that are flooding the market out there, so this video is here to give you clarity. In this video, what I'm going to show you if you stay until the end is, first of all, understanding what these two tools are, what is Co-Work and what is Codex, which one's better, which one wins when it comes to design, interface, analysis, final product. We're going to compare them, put them to the test, and I'm going to give you my response of which one am I using. And I'm not just going to explain it to you, I'm actually going to show it to you live with demonstrations done in both tools. So if you want to learn the difference between Claude, Co-Work, and Codex, this is the video for you. Now, before we begin, let's define both of these so that you know exactly what they are. These definitions are going to be from a non-technical standpoint. So think of Claude Co-Work as an application that Claude has, because in order to access it, you are going to need, as of right now, to download the desktop version of Claude, and it uses agentic AI. To remind you guys about this concept, the difference between a normal LLM and agentic AI is that agentic AI is capable of actually making autonomous decisions and actually executing on your behalf. So to an LLM, you ask a question and you receive an answer. To an agent, you say, hey, this is my goal, and the agent will actually execute your goal, okay? So Claude Co-Work is the application that is going to do this for Claude. Now, you give it a folder within your computer. You say, hey, this folder right here, you can access all of the files, you can edit them, you can produce new ones, anything you want, but within this file. So you are actually giving it access to a certain part of your computer and your files so that it can work on your behalf. And if I had to summarize in one line what it does, I would say it is a fantastic organizer. And when we see the comparison, you'll see why. Now, Codex is very similar, but for OpenAI. When Codex was first released, though, and hence the name, it was meant for programmers. It was meant for coding, but it has now evolved to a full command center that, just like Co-Work, you can give it access to a particular folder and it can build and execute. And one of the best things is that this is not just an AI agent, it is a multi-AI agent, meaning that it can execute multiple tasks at once. And this is brutal. You're going to see what this means in a second, but it really shows that Codex is an executor. So now that you know that both of them are agents of Claude and of ChatGPT, and you also know that Co-Work is more of an organizer and Codex is more of an execution tool, let's actually compare them and start doing our live practice. Okay, the first test that we're going to do is interface. Which one is better? So as you can see, I've downloaded both applications and I have them right here. Now, something to mention about Claude is when you download it, you'll see that you have here chat, and this is literally just like having Claude on your browser. It is exactly the same, and you have your projects, artifacts, skills, and chats, just like you would in your applications. If you then click here, you'll go into Co-Work, and if you click here, you will then go into Code. So as you can see, you have everything organized in one place, and you have quite a simple interface, and you can navigate from one to another. Now, right here, you are seeing Codex, and the thing about Codex is that once you download it, you are only using Codex. While it is connected to your OpenAI account, you do not have access to your normal chats. You cannot use them from here. This is only the application for Codex. It is not the application for ChatGPT, where you can maybe access your custom GPTs, etc. So here, when it comes to interface, I'm going to give it a tie. If you want to have very organized agentic work, you have everything Codex rated in one place. So you might prefer that. But if on the other hand, you want to have Claude's version where you can switch from one to another, you will prefer Claude's interface. So since this is highly subjective and both are honestly good, I'm just going to give it a tie. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about projects and folders. So like I was mentioning at the beginning, in order to allow an agent to work, I need to give it a space to work in. So the way you do this is you create a folder in your computer. In this case, I've created a folder called 2026 clients. And as you can see, I've given access, in this case, I'm using Codex right now, to such folder. Okay, I have selected it. That means that it can access all of the files within that folder. It can edit them, add new ones, delete, etc., etc. Okay, now the only problem that I see with Codex when I give it access to a folder is that it creates a project for such folders. So for example, here we're making a bank statement, which we'll actually review it in just a second. But what happens if, for instance, I want to create a new chat, and I also want to use this folder? Let me just say something, for instance, hi. Now, the problem with this is that it has automatically put it within the same project. I could want to have two different projects with the same folder. Unfortunately, as of right now, Codex does not allow me to do this. Any conversation related to the same folder, in this case the folder called Clients 2026 in my desktop, are going to be grouped into one. And I may not want this. I may want to use the same folder, but have 2 or 3 or 5 different projects. And as of right now with Codex, you can't do this. And honestly, it's something I don't like. On the other hand, if we go to Claude Co-Work, this gets much, much better. You can create your own projects. So for instance, I've created a project here called 02 Clients 2026. Fantastic. So I'm going to go to New Tasks, and as you can see, same thing. I'm going to select a folder, the same folder within my device, and I'm just going to say, for instance, hello. As you can see, let's just pause it, that's fine. And you will see that here, if I go to projects, I have this same conversation right here, new conversation where I said hello. Now, I'm going to create another project. Let's just do live test, okay, just so you can see it. All right, perfect. And I'm going to go now to a new task. I'm going to select a folder, again, the same folder I had before. Going to, yes, give it permission. And I'm going to say once again, and this time I'm going to, just so you can see, I'm going to write it in Spanish, okay? Hello in Spanish, okay? And what I can do is I can now add this to another folder, live test. So as you can see, now if I go to my projects, I have 2 projects attached to the same folder, but they are separate, giving me more control and organization. So when it comes to projects and organization, I'm going to give this point to Claude Co-Work. All right, the next thing that we're going to be put to a test are plugins and connectors. Basically, this is how many applications can we connect to both Codex and Claude Co-Work? Because remember, these are meant to be agents that execute work on our behalf. And most of us don't just work here, right? If I ask you to send an email, I don't want the email to be drafted here. I actually want you to connect to my email and send it. If I ask you to create a document, I actually want you to go in my Google Drive, create an appropriate folder, and create the document, right? And these applications can actually do that. The thing is, which one's better? Well, pretty simple. If you go to Codex, which is where we are right now, you will see it is called plugins. And here you can add many plugins. For instance, I could connect Google Chrome, I could connect my Gmail, which I already have, my Slack, Google Calendar, Notion, a ton of applications. The thing is that they aren't as many as in Claude Co-Work. And also, something that a lot of people always look for, Zapier, which pretty much allows you to make integrations with anything, is not available. On the other hand, when it comes to Claude Co-Work, if I go to customize right here, I then go to connect your plugins and then go to connectors. Here I have them all. You can see I have Canva, Figma, Gmail. I have much, much more. And if, for instance, I look for Zapier, I can download it as well. Okay, so you have many more applications, connectors, plugins, however you want to call it, available in Claude Co-Work. So this is a big plus, and this is a big deal because if you want to work with a certain application and you don't have it available in Codex, you might want to use Claude Co-Work. Now, our next point is going to be automations. Can I execute them on both? Yes, I can. For instance, let's say I prepare a prompt just like this one. Turn this into a recurring weekly task. Every Monday morning, review the active clients in the folder and prepare a summary for management with executive summary, priority clients, etc. Just by sending in this prompt, it is going to automatically create an automation for you. And this works in both Codex and in Co-Work. And I've actually done this. Okay, so you'll see in Codex, you have here a section called automations. And if I go there, you're going to see this weekly client management summary. And it is here right now. And it's ready to run at Monday at 9 a.m. or I could run it right now. Okay, and this is quite cool. When it comes to Co-Work, it is exactly the same. The only thing is instead of being called automation, it's called scheduled. So I'm just going to click right here. And as you can see, I have the exact same thing. Every Monday morning, review active clients in the folder and generate a summary report. So in this case, automations work very well on both. So once again, I'm going to give a point to each. It is a tie. Next thing we're going to look at is creating document and files. And here I'm going to say that rather than just showing you something, because this comes down to experience and doing this a lot and trying many things, I will tell you the following. When it comes to strategizing, cleaning up a document, organizing, I would give the point to Claude Co-Work. But when it comes to actually executing the final deliverable, the final task, I've been getting better results with Codex. So here, if I have to give a point, I will give it to Codex. The next thing we're going to be scoring is design. And when it comes to design, I honestly think that it is a close one because Co-Work used to suck at this and it has improved a lot. Here, I basically added multiple bank statements in a complete chaos and disaster, and I asked it to organize it all into a clean and unified document. The problem that Co-Work used to have before is that all you could do was just drag to the right or left your new file, your artifact, and you really couldn't see too much. But now they finally added something that Codex always had and ChatGPT too, which was a full screen button. Now you can see much better. Okay, you can see here we have our document and we can see all our tabs. We do have a few design errors, such as this text that is larger than the actual text box, but overall it's quite good. On the other hand, we've done the same thing with Codex, and I have to say that the design is much better and cleaner. Check this out. I like the formatting a lot more, and as you can see, there is no text that is bigger than the text box. The structure is better. Also, the document is much more precise. It has a lot more detail, and I really prefer the design and structuring. This is what I mean that Codex really is an executor. Okay, Claude would do a great job at organizing the documentation and leaving it ready for Codex to then actually make your final draft. Okay, this was a fake example that we did in one of our live streams, which, by the way, I will say that every Monday we host a free class that you can sign up completely for free. We teach you everything AI related. Last class was related to how to organize your finances using Claude. So we made this exact example in Claude, and you can sign up completely for free in the link in our description. Now that we've looked at all of this, the point when it comes to design has to go to Codex. Okay, and now the final test, which is going to be multitasking. Which one is better? Well, let's check this out. We are in Claude Co-Work, and as you can see, I've written here 3 instructions. I'm going to send them in one by one, just so you can see. So write a short welcome email, give me a 5-step checklist to launch a landing page, and list 5 things to make a strong commercial proposal. So if I were to quickly copy these out and send it in, I'll send my first one. I then prepare the next one, and I have Q, and let's do this again, and once again, Q. Okay, so I've sent in 3 instructions. Now here we can already see, give me a second, last one wasn't sent in. As we can see, we've sent in different ones and we're actually queuing them. Now, Claude Co-Work could not do this until recently, and that really sucked. You had to send in 1 instruction and wait until they were all executed until it did the rest. As you can see now, it's breaking it down. So to make a strong commercial proposal, you do this. This is how you make your your checking for the landing page, but it skipped. So the first one, write your first welcome email for a new client. Now here still, this is an upgrade. It was capable of receiving multiple instructions and putting them to a side and taking an agent to conduct each one of them. It couldn't do this before, so this is an upgrade. Now, when we look at the exact same thing, let me copy the one I'm missing, which is this one, write the short email. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to just cut these out, send that in there, go on to the next one, send it in there, and go on to the next one, send it in there. As you can see, we are sending them all in there, and the tasks are being executed in parallel. All of these tasks are happening at the same time, and they're actually being executed. When it comes to Codex, it didn't skip any of them. And that is because Codex has been built for things like this since the beginning. It is a multi-agent, multiple agents working at the same time on different tasks. Think of it like having a team, and you delegate to team member A, task 1, team member B, task 2, and team member C, task 3. Now, Claude Co-Work is catching up, but as of right now, I prefer Codex. And for me, this point is very important. I think that multitasking is essential when it comes to agents. So now you've seen the analysis, you've seen the ranking. So the question is, which one's better? And I always answer the same thing, guys. That is the wrong question to answer. The question is, which one's best for depending on the task I'm going to execute? Why pick when I can use both? And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to show you in a live practice how I actually use these tools. So like I told you, Co-Work is excellent for organizing, for structuring, for cleaning up mess. And Codex is fantastic for then executing the final piece of work. So why not combine them both? Since I can connect them both to the same folder, why don't I clean up my work with Co-Work and then execute the final piece with Codex? And that is exactly what we're going to do. So we are now in Co-Work, and as you can see, I have my folder called 02 Clients 2026. Fantastic. This is a folder in which I have a list of fake clients with fake needs, problems, history, etc. Okay, and I prepared the following prompt. Analyze the client folder and organize it as if you were my operations assistant. Identify which clients appear, what each one needs, which seems highest priority, what pending tasks exist, and how you would organize this information by project. Then give me a summary table with client, need, priority, and next action. In this case, guys, I'm going to be using Opus 4.8, and let's send it in there and see how the agent is going to go through my folder, find all relevant information, and then execute. So first of all, as you can see, it is running its commands and it is going to look for the folder that I have given it access to and start opening all the documentation within there. What it is going to find is a folder that I've prepared in which each client has one document. The document has information about what that client has done, history, problems, etc. Okay, here we go. So it's found Novo Legal, it's found Rivera Clinic, and it's found Innova Habitat. Fantastic. These are the clients that I had. Here we have the highest priorities, pending tasks, and how it would organize it. Remember what I said, Co-Work is a fantastic organizer, so why not let it organize the work for me, okay? Do you want me to actually create the per client folder structure and a pipeline.md tracker in this folder? Yes, please. Create it all within the already existing folder called Co-Work Output. So I created this folder just so within my folder, output, excuse me, just so that I could have it all stored and organized. So everything it just did, it is now going to create it as files within my file, specifically in a sub file that I've called Co-Work Output. Guess what I'm going to do next? I'm going to go to Codex and I'm going to give it that Claude Output folder and say, hey, now it's time for you to actually execute and build me a plan. As you can see, we can now see everything that is being created. On the right-hand side, we have our progress. We can see everything is being built. The brief, the status, the pipeline, absolutely everything. Brutal, guys. Excellent organizer and excellent structure. Okay, guys, so it says it's done. Let's check if that's correct. We have our folder open here, as you can see, Clients 2026. And here we have Inmo Habitat, Noble Legal, and Rivera Clinic. We also had a commercial follow-up document. And here I had my 02 Co-Work Output. Fantastic. So as you can see, we have here our pipeline. We also have for each client the brief and the status. These are marked down documents, which are fantastic. They are very efficient. They're not heavy at all. So these agents can work with them very, very well. Okay, so we have our organization done. Now let's go to our executor. So I'm going to give it access to 02 clients 2026, or even if let's be more precise, I'm going to say I'm going to use an existing folder and I'm going to go to clients 2026, and within there I'm going to go to Co-Work Output. So as you can see, this is the folder, the specific folder in which it just produced everything. And I have a prompt ready, create an operational summary of this folder and generate a list of concrete actions to move forward today. Prioritize the task by commercial impact and tell me which document I should create or edit first. Now, as you can see, there are multiple clients, there are multiple problems with each of them. There are multiple things going on at the same time. And this is when agentic AI works very, very well, because it's going to take everything that Claude did and start prioritizing and executing things in order to accomplish this goal, which is to prioritize the task by commercial impact. Okay, it's going to start reading all the files, as you can see, and it is now creating my operational summary. We can see everything working. Remember, on the right-hand side, we can see all the sources used once it starts using them, and also all the outputs that are being created. Okay, you can see it's pretty quick, and here we can see all the documentations. Now, once the documentation is ready, something I really, really like about Codex, is that I can decide where I open it. So I could open this in a specific app, I could use it in my terminal, or I could see it in Finder. Okay, depending on the type of file that you create, this is a .md. I could open it in different sources. I'm going to actually say, could you create the document as a Word file? Okay, so I should have perhaps specified this in my prompt, but just as you can see, you can iterate and make as many changes as you need. So we're going to wait until the document's ready. It shouldn't take more than 30 seconds, and I'll show you the final product. All right, guys, so our document is ready. I also said, hey, could you add it to the same folder? Fantastic, it did. And let's check it out. In my case, I decided to open it, export it to Google Docs, and it's right here. And look, we have a beautiful and very well structured document, operational summary. It gives us the source, the rule. We prioritize close this month candidates. Owner is Daniel, myself. Folder snapshots, we have our 3 clients here, the level of priority ranked. Again, remember, even though this has been executed by Codex, the organization and ranking was done by Co-Work. Okay, today's action list, what we're going to do for each client, and the first document that we should work on and create. As you can see, we have different titles, structure. It's very simple, well prioritized, and very well organized. And if we go to our folder, we'll see we now have a new document called the operational summary, which is this right here. So guys, what is the conclusion? Number one, there is no best tool. It depends on what you want to use it for. And as you saw in the ranking, some things are a bit subjective, so they might be different for you. My takeaway here is that you focus on what's important, and that's not Codex versus Co-Work. It is agentic AI. It is how agents are taking over and their work is next. The agent's actually executing tasks on your behalf. It is way, way better than just using an LLM like we used to do a year and a half ago, just typing in, copying and pasting a response. The way to go are agents. Remember that if you enjoyed this content, we host a free class every single Monday, and you can sign up completely for free in the link in our description. These are live, so you can interact with me, ask questions, and anything that you want. Also remember, we post 2 YouTube videos per week, so if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe and activate the notifications bell so you get notified and don't miss any of our content. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. I will put it here so you can see it. Also, we're posting twice per day with more news, updates, and content for you. I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.